Hey there, what's up, everybody? It's Dr. Shazetta. I pray you guys are doing well. Happy Saturday to you all. It is Saturday, August the 8th. Saturday, August the 8th, and I am sitting outside on the front porch, just enjoying the beautiful weather, the sound of the birds singing, and a wonderful cup of coffee that's over here that I haven't started sipping on yet. I brought you guys in a little bit. You saw at the beginning of the video that I kind of opened a little bit with some of my morning routines. And I didn't get all of them in because I didn't think or even feel like turning the camera on when I first got up this morning. But as I am leaning into this season of my life, I'm understanding more and more the importance of setting kind of these daily rhythms for myself that signal right? Signal for myself the type of day that I hope to have. They are a set of rhythms that sometimes are they're tweaked a little bit, but by and large, I find them to be what help me to settle into the day the most successfully. It's not a perfect system, but I find it to be extremely helpful. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. But first, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Shazetta, and this is Dr. Shazetta's The Well Life, the place where intellect, creativity, and inspiration collide. That's right, my little corner of the internet where I lean fully and intentionally into the fullness of who I am, and I do it unapologetically. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, you know I'm glad you're back. So, um, if you've not watched the videos the last 2 days, I encourage you to go back and do so. But essentially, I'm on day 3 of a 10-day reset. My husband and son are out traveling, took a road trip to Tennessee. They're going to be gone for the next 10 or so days. And being a little bit concerned about being by myself for this long, this amount of time. Um, I was a little worried. It's been the first time that I've been by myself since my dad passed away. And so just that kind of emptiness and quietness and silence in the house made me a little nervous. And so I decided that rather than allowing loneliness and fear to settle in, that instead I'd be intentional about how I spend these next 10 days. Now, to be clear, I wasn't trying to fill my days up. I wasn't trying to put so much on my plate to keep me busy, none of those things. But I wanted to be intentional about how I spent these 10 days. And so I decided to give myself a 10-day reset challenge. Now, there's nothing wrong, right? But I believe that there are always systems and rhythms in our lives that can be refined and that can be improved upon. And so 10 days without being responsible, if you will, to or for anyone else other than myself and the dogs. I decided to use it as just a time of gifting to myself, just some exploration around and with myself, particularly in 3 areas. So, one, with my attention. How am I using my time in the morning? What is getting my attention first? How am I navigating through distractions that would keep me from doing the things that are most important to me, or most inspiring to me, or most interesting to me? Right? Sometimes I can be working on a thing, and another thing will draw my attention, and I will be so distracted and never come back to it. And so, how am I stewarding my attention? The second area was my body. How am I dealing with my body? I told you all in yesterday's video that I tell you a little bit about my sleep pattern. So I understand my body to need about 8 hours of sleep. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is my sweet spot. And so normally going to bed no later than 10 gets me up around 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning and feeling good. When that sleep routine is thrown off, I am thrown off. And so I've been working a lot over the last several months to honor my body, preparing to go to sleep around 8 or 8:30, getting myself together. 9 is optimal, but certainly no later than 10. And as I tried to do that over the last couple of days, I've really struggled, undoubtedly because the house is empty, therefore my bed is empty. And so I've stayed up quite late the last couple of nights, and I feel it in the morning. So I want you to focus on that. But also there's about what I put in my body. What am I eating? Am I hydrating well? How am I tending to my movement? Those sorts of things. So really spending this 10 days to think about that. What affects me the most, right? Negatively or positively, and how can I steward this one body that I've been given well to give me that optimal experience each day. And then thirdly, it's about my creative rhythms, right? That oftentimes as a creative, I put my creativity to the side or on the back burner and my creative energy would get the time that was left. But what I've learned over the last several years, and certainly in this season, is that my creativity cannot be a second thought. My creative rhythms cannot be a second thought, but they are a necessary part of my day. The challenge with that right now, though, is that over the last couple of years, just navigating what I've navigated, is that there's not always a lot of inspiration, that some of my creative flow does not come as naturally to me, as easily to me as it once did. And so I am working on kind of rejuvenating that. And so today I decided to just lean more fully into talking. 3, 2, 1. So part of this kind of focusing on those 3 areas, though, is also my realization that I benefit from rhythms. I have a love-hate relationship with rhythms, though, because rhythms are really helpful to me most days, but the challenge is that I become dependent upon them. And if a rhythm is thrown off, my rhythm is thrown off on a given day, particularly an already challenging day, that it just kind of throws me all the way off, and I'm still trying to figure out what recovery looks like, where I don't have to throw an entire day away because my rhythm has been broken. And so that's a challenge and something that I'm thinking through and working through. I'm also trying to figure out what are some of those non negotiable pillars, right? What are some of the rhythm things that are non negotiable that no matter what I have to do? So I'm thinking through that and journaling through that as well. And so I wanted to share a little bit with you all some of the rhythms that I am finding are helpful for me. So one that I find is non-negotiable is starting my morning slowly. What this means for me is that sometimes I have to get up early. I find that feeling or being rushed certainly increases my anxiety. Being or feeling rushed gives me the sense that I don't have enough time to do whatever I'm doing well. And so I've learned that getting up a little bit earlier so that I can, excuse me, getting up a little bit earlier so that I can slow down, so that I can be intentional about my mornings is really, really important. On days like tomorrow, which is Sunday, it will mean that I either need to get up really early tomorrow or that tonight I need to lay out my clothes and do the majority of the things so that in the morning I can take my time and head out to church. On work days, it means making sure that before I go to bed the night before that the house is recovered so that I don't wake up to chaos, so that everything is kind of in order and in alignment. Um, and so starting my mornings slowly, what you saw this morning at the beginning of the video is part of my routine. But one thing that I do generally before I leave my bedroom, in as much as it's possible, unless I have to run to the restroom, but I make my bed. This signals to me that sleeping time is over and it makes my room feel more tidy, makes it feel more put together. And it signals to me that when I return to my bedroom at the end of the day, I don't have to return to chaos, but I will return to order and be able to settle nicely and quickly into my rest time. Another thing after obviously I do my hygiene things and get dressed is I settle in to open up the blinds and let in natural light. I turn off the artificial harsh light. And when it's a beautiful day outside, I open up the blinds to let in all the natural sunlight that I can. I adjust the temperature in the house so that it's comfortable, not too cold, not too hot, but a good place for my nervous system just to be and to settle and to feel as if all is well. Um, Natural light, I then turn to kind of cleaning the sink if there's anything in the sink that needs to be cleaned out. A clean sink signals a clean kitchen for me. And so emptying out the sink, loading the dishwasher if we haven't done it the night before, like I did do last night. And then working on my coffee. I have worked on perfecting a cup of coffee that I very much enjoy. And so it is a routine. Sometimes my husband makes it for me and brings it out to the porch for me. Other times, like today, I make it myself. And then before I go to any heavy lifting, heavy work stuff, I grab my books and hopefully on the days that it's great, bring them outside. I've been able to, I said to you all yesterday that I would talk a little bit more about why I was excited that I've been able to begin reading again. Um, Over the last couple of years, it's been kind of off again, on again, that I've struggled with consuming or taking things in. And so I go through these periods of needing to put things out. And so for a while now, I've struggled to settle my brain enough to read and to comprehend, and certainly not to take notes. And so to be able, um, this last little bit here to get up again and begin morning devotions with my scripture and my reading and my writing has been a real gift to me. It really is helping settle me, and being able to take in the information has been a real blessing. And so to do that in the mornings has been to add reading has been great. I've been journaling, but to add reading has been great for me. The other piece is journaling. Since I mentioned it, I did a 30-day challenge for my pocket journaling a few weeks ago, and I said I was going to do a wrap-up video, and I'll probably still will hit record sometime later today or tomorrow to talk about it. But these pocket journals are a real blessing to me, to just sit in the morning, especially when I'm not able to take in new information, to just sit in the morning and do a stream of consciousness writing session, 2 or 3 pages in here, just to help get everything out of my brain. Doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason or orderliness to this. It's just the notion that I'm getting everything out of my head that's just holding up space to hopefully make room for more. And I found that over the last 30 days to be really transformative for me. And it is a practice that I will continue. And so there's that. And then just sitting in quiet and silence. I come outside And my husband sometimes comes out and sits with me, but we both understand it to be just a time just to be with ourselves, to be with each other. I've noticed that he comes out sometimes by himself now, before I do. But just to hear the sights and sounds right now, there's a helicopter flying above me. It looks like a version of Marine One, actually, but it's flying by itself. So the president is not on that plane. Um, but to just sit and be and hear and wave with the neighbors and say good morning and all of those things, and just to sit and be with my thoughts. And I think because of our kind of fast paced need to multitask, need to be productive, need to always be doing something society, that um, we have kind of shortchanged, right, the value of sitting in silence, of being reflective, of being contemplative, of sitting with yourself and allowing your thoughts to just process as they are. And I'll be honest, sometimes sitting with my thoughts can be overwhelming, and rushing while sitting with my thoughts, or rushing while navigating my thoughts, is definitely not the move. And so providing myself with these spaces and moments of silence and stillness and quiet, I'm finding to be really helpful in settling my thoughts, in organizing them, right, in some way. I find that to be really helpful. And then the third part is not immediately giving the world access to me. And so I started a few years ago, when I first saw Cal Newport's book, A World Without Email. I started dreaming of the possibility of somehow disconnecting, right, from the constant availability of cell phones and of email and of text messaging and instant messaging and direct messaging and all the types of messaging. Started thinking about what it would feel like to not always be accessible to folks. And with email, I decided to start treating it like snail mail. Like, even though someone sends a letter, they have no expectation that we will immediately respond back to it. They know that we will respond at an appropriate time and within reason, but that need to immediately be accessible, that guilt and that pressure of immediately being accessible and responsive to folks, yeah, it's just not the vibe. And so I've been trying to give myself space until at least 10 a.m. my time. I've been doing that for a couple of years now, um, to wait until at least 10 a.m. in the morning to begin looking at emails and texts and feeling pressure to respond to them. Um, so it's really kind of letting myself arrive in the day, um, rather than feeling the day arriving and feeling pressured by it, if you will. Um, the other thing is, talked about it a little bit yesterday, this idea of creating more than I consume, but a part of creating more than I consume for me is also about creating space. And so you saw me this morning lighting incense both in the house, but also I light incense out on the porch. One, because I like the smell. The aromatherapy is good for me. But also it helps keep the mosquitoes away in a very practical sense. But how am I creating space where I can thrive, not just exist or survive? That's really, really important. And it is a part of my daily rhythm. How am I straightening surfaces and tables, making sure that when I'm walking, the floor is clean. I don't feel grime under my feet because I don't like to wear shoes, right? So these rhythms, right, are not perfect by any stretch, but they are important for me, because with each rhythm, it not only creates and cultivates an environment for me to be the best version of myself for that day. And the best version of myself for a given day, I will be honest with you, sometimes may not be the best version of myself, but it is the best version of myself that is able to show up in that given day. And I realize, perhaps now more than ever, that daily rhythms are critical for me, that they are important for me, that they, on the best of days, they just make everything flow smoothly. On the challenging days, they give me anchor points, right? Where something may feel out of control, I at least have anchor points, these anchor points that signal to me what is the next most faithful step, right? And so these rhythms are really, really important for me. I think my coffee's still a little bit too hot. And also it's kind of romanticizing things, right? So you all saw me making my coffee. Um, I've learned to make coffee. I still haven't learned latte art, and I still want to learn it, but I've learned how to make my coffee beautiful. Not only aromatic, but also visually beautiful, or at least beautiful to me. I mean, I'm not at anybody's coffee shop right now about to, make $1,000 for the beauty of my coffee, but it's beautiful to me. It's not just a plain cup of coffee in a styrofoam cup. It is a cup of coffee Um, that I have taken the time to make, for myself. And I know you're probably watching this and thinking, well, wow, these habits aren't necessarily revolutionary. These rhythms that she's talking about are not necessarily revolutionary. And you're right, right. But I think that's actually the point, that I don't want these rhythms, these habits to be exceptions to my day-to-day life. I want them to just be a part of it, right? A part of what it means for my life. I want a part of what it means for my life is just to be healthy and to know what gives me the sets me up for that, right? In the best of ways, right? Um I think that sometimes we are trained to think about life as something that we will eventually arrive to, right? This healthy life, this whole life, as something that we're constantly working toward, and that's not untrue. But I don't want to have to wait until the end to say, oh, I made it. I want to be constantly every day building a little bit more, getting a little bit closer, right, to living life the way that I believe it's intended to be lived, not only by me, but by others, So, not a deep video today. These 10 days and 10 days reset and 10 days of videos is really about me just sharing with you all where I am and what I'm thinking through and how I'm processing through these 10 days. The evenings and the nights are a little challenging. But I'm still learning through them and still processing through them, and I want to share that with you all. Um, but before I go, I want to offer you a question to think about, and certainly invite you to drop it down in the comments. I hope that you guys will stay with me for the journey. But what's one small habit that you feel like is quietly changing your life, right? Doesn't have to be revolutionary, but what's one thing you feel like you're doing more consistently, or that you're trying to do more consistently, that is changing your life for the better? I think I posted on social media um, some months back, right, to just find the one thing that you would do for yourself on a given day, the one thing that you would do to um, to bless yourself or to love on yourself for a particular day. So, in that same vein, what's one small habit that you have committed to that you feel like is changing your life for the better? Listen, I plan to see you guys tomorrow. It's Sunday, so we'll probably post a little bit later tomorrow than normal, just because of church. But I will plan to see you all tomorrow as we lean into day 4 of my 10-day reset. If you are blessed by today's video, and if you would like to be a part of this community as I continue my endeavor to live the well life, I would love for you to hit that subscription button, that subscribe button. I would love for you to hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload new content. I would love for you to comment down there and be in conversation with me as I continue. All right, y'all have a great Saturday, man. I'll talk to you soon. Be well. Bye-bye.